Hi, my name is Pat, and this is my channel, Book Chat with Pat, and I'm glad that you're here. Today I'm bringing you episode 10 in my series on books I loved to teach. And this episode is going to be devoted to a discussion of John Irving's novel, A Prayer for Owen Meany. This is a novel that I taught for many years in a senior English course entitled Contemporary Fiction. A Prayer for Owen Meany is the seventh novel written by American writer John Irving, and it was published in 1989. It tells the story of John Wheelwright, the narrator, and his very unusual friendship with Owen Meany in the 1950s and the 1960s in a small town in New Hampshire. Many of Irving's novels are set in small towns in New Hampshire. This novel is set in the fictional town of Gravesend, New Hampshire. John Wheelwright is the narrator of the novel, which can be considered a Bildungsroman, that is, a coming-of-age story where it depicts basically the psychological and moral growth and development of a character from childhood to adulthood. This story is narrated in two interwoven time periods. The novel begins in the novel's present tense, which is 1987. And an adult John Wheelwright is living as an expatriate in Canada. And then he looks back on his life and goes back to his early childhood when he first met the person who would become his best friend, and that's Owen Meany. So most of the novel takes place in the 1950s and 1960s, where he's growing up alongside this very unique Owen Meany, who becomes his best friend. Owen is a most unusual child. Although it's never fully explained what exactly his condition is, we are told that Owen Meany is unusually small for his age. In fact, he's so small that other kids frequently pick him up and pass him around, much to his displeasure. And he's often, screaming for them to please put him down. So he's this very, very unusually small person. And he also has this extremely unusual, it's described as unearthly voice. It is nasal and high-pitched. And Irving designates his unusual speech by typing all of Owen's dialogue in capital letters. Owen has a powerful, schoolboy crush on John Wheelwright's mother, who is, in turn, very kind to and very fond of her son's little friend, Owen. In a freak accident in the very first chapter of the novel, Owen is responsible for John's mother's death in this freakish accident. And so these two boys' lives become inextricably linked. The town thinks of Owen's stunted growth as the result of his exposure to granite dust in the quarry that his family owns. But Owen has a very different idea about what his stature means. Owen believes that his small size and his very unusual voice are actually special gifts from God. Owen comes to see himself as having a sort of divine mission on earth. He actually describes himself as God's instrument. The novel also deals with John's search for his father. He is primarily raised by his single mother, and then she meets someone who becomes John's stepfather, and this all happens, just shortly before her accidental death. But this search for one's father, for one's birth father, is a very common theme in the works of John Irving. It's one that he has visited and revisited many, many times. The novel also deals very heavily with themes related to faith and belief. As I said, Owen sees himself as God's instrument. John actually starts the narrative, the very first sentence of the novel, by telling us that he believes in God largely because of his relationship with his friend Owen Meany. So that's how the novel starts. Throughout the rest of the novel, we come to learn how Owen has caused John to become a man of belief. The novel also deals with the Vietnam War. As the boys grow up throughout the course of the novel, they face the realities facing most young men at that time, most young men of draft age. Owen wants nothing more than to serve his country because he believes that this is all part of this divine mission that he believes that he is on. John, however, has very definitely different feelings about the Vietnam War and what his role in it should be. The novel deals with the impact of the war on American society at large. It also deals with themes of sacrifice and redemption. It explores the lengths to which individuals are willing to go for the greater good, and also the potential for redemption in the face of past mistakes. Owen, as I said, sees himself as having this divine mission. And this is also one of the reasons why those who would ban books have attacked this novel. But that's another video. Certainly one of the most important themes in this novel, and certainly one that captivated my students, is the theme of friendship and loyalty. It examines the enduring bond between these two boys and then young men. It explores the commitment and the sacrifice that comes with true friendship. This is also a phenomenal novel for teaching the importance of certain literary devices. There's great use of foreshadowing in this novel. It's used to highlight future events that are going to occur later in the novel. It also creates suspense wonderfully. There's really rich symbolism in this novel, and when you want to teach kids about symbolism, this is a great novel in which to explore those things. There are many concrete objects in this novel that take on abstract qualities and meanings as the novel progresses. Objects like a baseball, a dressmaker's dummy, a stuffed armadillo. Owen's voice is used symbolically. And in fact, Owen's character, Owen himself, is something of a symbol in this work. The novel is also filled with allusions, historical and cultural allusions. JFK's assassination plays a huge role in this novel. The Vietnam War, Ronald Reagan, and the Iran-Contra affair also they figure prominently in the story as well. And the novel is filled with echoes of other literary works. And John Irving has made very well known that this was intentional, that he was paying homage to other writers who have gone before him. There are echoes in this novel of Günter Grass's The Tin Drum, right down to character names. Owen Meany, his name deliberately is meant to resemble the main character in Günter Grass's The Tin Drum. There are also echoes of the Canadian novelist Robertson Davies. His book, Fifth Business, is echoed in Owen Meany as well. And a novel that students often study in high school, Nathaniel Hawthorne's The Scarlet Letter, there are certain echoes of that as well in this novel. John Irving is also often compared to or called kind of the modern day Charles Dickens. And certainly the complexity of his plot and the wonderful, wide cast of characters and really, some very unique minor characters, those things are all very Dickensian. So there were just terrific themes and motifs and literary devices to analyze in both discussion and in writing, making this novel one that I'm happy to add to my series, now consisting of 10 episodes on books that I loved to teach. As always, I thank you for watching. I hope that you're doing well. I'll speak with you again soon. Take care.